London, the almighty London, once crowned the business capital of Europe and home to more than 40% of the European headquarters of the world's biggest companies. London has a bigger preeminence in Europe than New York has within North America. Home to more than 8 million people and more than 16 million daily commuters. Pre-pandemic, and in 2016, we made the decision to move to this gargantuan city. But why? Well, to follow dreams. And as time would have it, following these dreams would come at a cost. So today I want to tell you 3 life-changing lessons I learned in London. Number 1, dreams are not reality. Dreams are a succession of ideas, emotions, images, and sensations that occur involuntarily in the mind. And if we're able to voluntarily repeat these patterns of thoughts, then the process of visualization begins. Now, does visualization actually work? Studies have shown that it increases performance by improving coordination, concentration, and motivation. It also aids in relaxation and helps reduce fear and anxiety. In 2015, I started dreaming about being in a city like London, having the possibility to explore all the inexhaustible options that it has to offer, especially as a musician. At the time, I was living in Austria, and even though it's a perfectly lovely place, I felt that it lacked a little bit of that worldly spirit. And with this, my dream to move to London began. At first, it was just that, a dream. I would imagine all the lovely pubs with live music and the endless offers to play gigs. At the same time, the UK was booming. It was exporting the biggest and greatest talents in the music industry: Ed Sheeran, Adele, Sam Smith. And here I was, in Vienna, playing the same open mic every week and writing a lot of songs. Yeah, I loved it, it was a great time, but I wanted more. Soon, my dream turned into visualization. I started planning how I would move here and the things that I would do, how it would look like in my mind, and all the contacts that I would make. Have you seen our new t-shirts? Team Capture, Team No Capture. In 2016, my vision materialized and we moved to London. I'm not gonna go into detail about my first impressions because I wanna make a whole episode about that. But to say that I was ecstatic would be an understatement. So that was it. I was finally here. I designed a detailed action plan to take over the London music scene one night at a time. I enrolled in a songwriting course just so that I could meet like-minded people and expand my network. I was going out to gig almost every night, and I wrote a lot of songs. In 2017 alone, I wrote more than 80 songs and collaborated with more than 30 people. I felt that things started on the right foot, and I was actually doing all right. But reality soon kicked in, and life proceeded to school me. Despite all my dreams and visualizations, I encountered things that got in the way of those dreams. And even though I never stopped pursuing them, I think that the path that I had embarked on started morphing into something slightly different. The things that I dreamt about and the goals that I had set for myself were not being achieved, at least not in the way that I envisioned that they should have. And that was a big lesson that I learned here in this city. Dreams are not reality. Reality looks different, sometimes better, sometimes worse, but different. And it taught me to be flexible and not to hold on so tight to a vision or to a dream, because things might change. These days, because of the pandemic, I'm not out playing music too much, and who knows what is going to happen with that, but I am a musician first and foremost. But thanks to this lesson that I learned, I was able to stay flexible and do other things, like for example starting this channel and connecting with so many of you guys. But I am confident that good things will come in the future. But it's very important to stay flexible and find the right balance between dreams and reality. Number 2, deeper levels of connection. I mentioned in one of my past videos that human beings are profoundly social species. Our desire to connect with others is embedded in our biology and in our evolutionary history. It begins at birth, in the relationship that we have with our parents, and how this relationship seems to reverberate throughout our whole lives. And then comes our first friendships, and we create bonds that will run deeper than a tree's roots. And because of this, we go through life with a particular understanding of what connection feels like. But unless you've been traveling throughout your childhood and moving places, there's a very high chance that you've been stationary in one place, at home, wherever that may be. Dominican Republic, Poland, South Africa, or just Jamaica. And this constancy and longevity has its own manifestation of what connection actually feels and look like. And the fact that you share the same language, the same customs, the same culture has a tremendous impact on how it feels to be part of a group and what is your role in it. And then you move abroad. And as exciting as it is, and believe me, it really is, you also feel a little bit shaken down because your whole reality switches. You go from the comfort of familiarity into the accelerating scariness of the unknown. In this new reality, you begin a journey of connecting with others once again, but with the added complexity that you don't share commonalities with them anymore. Even if you meet people from your old cultural background, you don't come from the same city, from the same neighborhood, or from the same school, leaving you once again feeling like you're staring into the abyss. If me with a background in music, I just met someone with a background in tech, I felt that I had to dig deeper to find things that we could bond over just because I didn't have the luxury of having things that united us by default. All of a sudden, new things started to matter more than just a flag. Things like sense of humor, like worldviews in regards of societal roles and rights, even the secret connecting language of memes started to take a whole new meaning. This was a big eye-opener for me, and even though I've lived in many countries before moving to London, it was here where all of this actually sank in. Before I came here, maybe I was a little bit too codependent with the relationships that I have back home, or the country that I was living at the moment was a little bit too homogeneous, or the culture was too similar to mine. But it was here in this city in London with its melting pot of cultures and nationality that this became a lesson to me. And number 3, having a comfort zone to get out of, it's a luxury. First, let's define what comfort zone actually means. It's a psychological state in which things feel familiar to a person and they are at ease and in control of their environment, or they perceive they are, experiencing low levels of anxiety and stress. That seems pretty accurate. At least that's what comfort zone feels like when I think about it. But let's emphasize on the familiarity aspect of the definition. I think it's a major part of feeling comfortable with anything in life. That element of familiarity can make you thrive, or the lack of it can pummel you to the ground. We immediately hide our heads like little turtles the moment that we find ourselves in a situation that is unfamiliar. And I'm sure it has its roots in evolution. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, if you dare to venture into an unknown situation, it could really mean your demise. Like, for example, walking into an unfamiliar village or entering the wrong cave could have some serious implications for your survival. So human beings have grown cautious and come to crave control in order for us to minimize anxiety and danger. So when I came to London, it was almost impossible to miss the fact that the city seems like it's always alive. Go to any place like Mayfair, like Soho, like Camden, it feels like there's always happening at any time of the day or night. Go to Canary Wharf and you'll see that the lights are always on in those big buildings where all the big important companies are. Even though London doesn't have the big impressive skyline of Manhattan, for instance, still it's a pretty daunting place for someone that just arrived new to the city. For me in particular, it was the lack of a, old town, if you want to say, like other European cities. You have an old town where everything kind of like starts from. It's like a departure point or a point of reference. It was a little bit disorienting at first, and it for sure pushed me out of my comfort zone. But as I kept exploring London and trying to get used to my new life, I quickly noticed that this city is not for comfort zoners. As a matter of fact, in this city, if you even have a comfort zone, it's a luxury. Most people jump into the waters every day, regardless of what they might find down there. Piranhas, sharks, or the most beautiful coral reefs you can find. This city really pushes you to your limits. The double-deck buses, the century-old pubs, even the Queen's Guard with their funny hats, all of those things will always feel a little foreign to you if you're not from here. There's people here from all over the world searching for a better life. And every day, the city chews them up and spits them out. But surprisingly, that doesn't debilitate them. It makes them stronger and more resilient. And then one day you wake up and you are no longer out of your comfort zone, but you realize that you don't have a comfort zone anymore. Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of the episode. I hope you liked it. London, big London, the mighty London. It's beautiful. If you like this video, thumbs up, subscribe, comment below. See you next week.